Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Challenge Code podcast, episode 2. We made it. I am your co-host, Sai, along with
Hello, I'm Cameron.
Cameron and Sai.
Yeah,
And yeah, we've made it to a second one, despite the haters,
People did not believe in us, including ourselves.
including ourselves.
It took us 5 months to do one, and now 2 in a week.
Yep, and at that rate, we should be producing videos every hour within the next 3 weeks. So
Every hour.
don't hold us to that, though. Don't hold us to that.
Absolutely not, no.
So
no, it's good. This is good, though.
I'm feeling good. About this. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying it.
Yes. How have you been this week?
I've been well.
Yeah?
Still in lockdown, unfortunately. How about you?
Well, still men. Or men sounds like multiple. I don't know. There's been a few men topless sunbathing in the garden still. That hasn't changed.
Brilliant.
And now I'm being attacked with. I don't know if people can see I'm being attacked by hay fever. It's coming up to that season for me. It's gonna look like I'm constantly crying, rubbing my eyes.
If you're actually listening, I can describe it. It's like somebody's like put toothpaste on their testicles and just attached them to Cameron's face.
That's exactly
what it is. Yeah.
I can describe it better myself.
Thank you. I did English at GCSE.
You did English.
I did English.
That's not surprising.
That's why
you have a creative mind.
Thank you. I also write songs.
You also write songs?
Yeah.
Play us one right now.
Definitely not.
Oh boo.
Boo.
Anyway, maybe we should say what's going to be happening in this episode.
Yes, go ahead.
So we're going to discuss what's been going on in the past weeks and key topics, our opinions on it, and what's been happening with us during the lockdown. And then our main topic today will be discussing, is it really worth going to university? I've been there for over 5 years. Sai, you 4.
So 4, but in spirit, really only about a year.
Well, and then in mine it's about 3 months then.
Yeah.
But we do have quite a lot of expertise on it.
We do, yeah.
And in light of this horrible virus and the impact it's going to have on universities, we're discussing for people who are contemplating going to university now, is it going to be really worth it?
I mean, we had I think we have a unique insight because we were at university when the virus wasn't around, and we've had to experience some changes, so we sort of know what it's going to be like.
Well, I guess no one really knows exactly.
No, of course, but
our best,
again, we have some ideas, so we'd like to put those across.
Yeah, and then we're going to finish up with some questions that you guys have sent in to us. Thank you very much for sending some in. Always delighted to get them in. Please send some more. We'll answer those at the end.
Yep, absolutely.
If you remind the people where can they send it into?
They can send it into our Instagram DMs, or you can send it into our email at challengeco123@gmail.com.
Please look into our DMs. We will be sure to
please slide. And we'll reply to you anyway, even if we're not going to mention it in a podcast or an episode.
We will.
But we will try our best.
We will try, absolutely. We cannot promise more.
No. I'd like to start this episode firstly by talking about something that we talked about last week that I got grossly wrong.
Okay.
It's about the George Floyd murder.
It's interesting. Sorry, it's interesting how you've now described it as the George Floyd murder rather than the George Floyd death.
Yeah. I guess that's actually a big deal, but I think that's more in light of us learning what's just happened.
What's happened this week? Yeah.
What's happened this week? So the police officer who is responsible has been
Mr.
Chauvin.
Yeah.
Has been charged with murder and manslaughter. But he prior to him being charged, he was fired. And he was
4 of his buddies have been fired as well, haven't they?
Yeah, 4 of the people involved have also been fired.
Yeah.
And the people responsible for the for charging said that's the fastest that they've ever charged a police officer.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So,
yeah, it's in reaction to what the outcry of disgust has been to, hasn't it?
I mean, exactly, and or maybe that's a sign of things changing, that they're considering like this is an issue and we need to work faster on these things and we need to come down harder, hopefully.
Yeah. But like, I think just immense has been the outcry of just how much people have been disgusted by. Look at like the riots that's happening all across the states.
There was
like 7 main cities, like New York, especially Minneapolis. I saw some videos. I don't know if you've seen them.
I've seen a couple, yeah.
Like with what's like Walmart and is it Target? Is that their big?
Yeah, Target. Yeah.
It's like been completely ransacked by people. It looks crazy. Do you remember when we had like the London riots here years ago?
Yeah.
It looked like that, but a stage up, like properly in the streets,
Well, I saw a video of again, this isn't quite relevant to the point, but it's worth saying that people are very upset about this, and there are some people taking advantage of the situation. But someone had cut down or like brought down a power line, and they were cutting the transformer off the top of it or something.
All right.
I'm not entirely sure, but point is that there's
in response. It was just like part of the riots.
Yeah, this was part of the riots. I don't know if they were just more taking advantage.
Or was it a 5G nut?
It could have been a 5G nut.
Saving us from the virus. Yeah.
Somebody needs to.
Yeah. Maybe they're right. Maybe it's the 5G.
I'm sorry, coming off that point a little bit, I'd like to talk about that really quickly, because a little while ago when I was lining up for Tesco, I met, well, I didn't meet her because I don't want to be associated with people like that. I heard a woman in the queue trying to convince this other older man that 5G is the cause of coronavirus.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm just thinking, I'm just there like, Are you joking? Is it? It's got to be some sort of mad practical joke, because it doesn't make sense to me.
No. I think it was summed up really well. Like they've said it on like the Joe Rogan podcast stuff. Like the amount of countries that 5G is in.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is actually giving kind of credence to like the fact we're actually discussing it and arguing against it.
Yeah.
Credence to it, but we're not. I'm just saying like that 5G is in a handful of countries. Those the virus has gone swept across the whole globe.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's no correlation between the two.
No.
And the fact that people like in this country they were pulling down the infrastructure to do it, weren't they, at one point?
Yeah, so people set fire to it.
Help and use of the service. People, madness.
It's absolutely insane to me. Boggles my mind that people could. It really does. It really does boggle my mind. But
then how do you feel about these people? Again, switching back to the riots. What is your stance on people rioting? Because I think everyone can agree that what's happened was disgusting. But I think is it the Minneapolis or Minnesota police who have arrested him?
It's Minneapolis.
Okay, well, I think they've shown by how quickly they did it, and how severely they've clamped down on it. But it was a serious issue, and they've reacted to it.
But I don't know. My issue with this particular arrest is that it's either showing a move in the right direction, or it's either just showing how quickly they want to respond and shut the riots down.
Okay. So do you think they've only arrested him for murder because in response to the riots? If the riots hadn't have happened, do you think they would have
if the riots hadn't have happened, I think there would be a similar sort of situation to the cases that have happened before. Right. And I think I said last week that he was involved in shooting attempting to shoot another black man. But there have been cases. I'm not entirely sure of the specifics, but there have been multiple cases where this exact police officer has been involved in situations to this effect.
Right.
So I think, it's sort of suggesting that he's gotten away with it before, and he could have gotten away with it again, were it not for this amount of, backlash and reaction. Yeah, absolutely.
But
what do you think?
I think protesting is unbelievably important. It's a huge part of democracy, and so for people having their voice and having a say, it's vitally important. Protesting.
Yeah.
I think rioting is something different. Yeah, how many people who were going into Target to steal the TV were doing it in the name of George Floyd?
No, zero. I mean, I'd argue
for themselves.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. They were taking advantage of the situation. Peaceful or not even peaceful protests, but people like in the street with placards and everything. I support that.
Yeah.
But when, like, say, you're using those placards to smash through windows and destroy, especially smaller businesses.
Yeah, no, true. And, and insurance isn't as good in America in terms of, health and stuff.
Yeah, I just take a bit of shit. Like, I saw all these, like I said, I've seen all these videos of people going in there and then some people fighting each other.
Yeah.
Like it's Black Friday over which TV to steal and so on. Like, there's no correlation between that and like Black Lives Matter and police brutality. And so I just see it as an opportunity for some to use the unrest to gain an advantage. So I think those sites have not been a pleasant one to witness.
I agree. And there's also an issue with, I haven't seen this so much sort of on my social media because I tend not to follow this type of people, but I feel like whenever I've seen a news story on YouTube about the riots specifically, or a video about the riots, in the comments or in discussions, the people always say, like, what about all the police officers that are getting hurt during the riots? And people, and people find that a way to shoehorn in the all lives matter sort of.
Well, they all do
opposition, and but again, I think the point of all lives matter is yes, but you don't need to say that. It's I saw. Yeah, you shouldn't have to. Exactly. You shouldn't have to say that. You shouldn't have to say blank lives matter. It should just. It should be common knowledge. It should be common sense. But and I saw a picture that sort of described it. There's two houses on fire, and somebody's got a hose. Sorry, no, there's one house on fire and there's a house not on fire. Somebody's got a hose, and they're spraying this house that's not on fire with water. And somebody says to them, like, we agree that all houses matter, but this is the one that's on fire at the moment. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's the basic point. And if anyone argues against that, it doesn't make sense. What you're saying doesn't make sense, I think.
Well, I see your point there. I see your point. I just think that right now, what is at stake is not. I think the rioting. There could even be an argument to make the rioting, like you said before, it was what's made the police stand up and notice.
Yeah.
But I think that's I think you can only really make that argument if you were the person within the riot trying to justify it, legitimize it to yourself.
Of course.
Why you stole that TV.
Of course, yeah. There's always going to be, but the issue is, there's always people that take advantage of many situations. People have been taking advantage of the virus by bulk buying and trying to sell hand sanitizer on eBay for ridiculous numbers. Isn't it? Yeah. And I think there's going to be people that do that, but
but I hope they don't get hailed as some kind of justice hero.
Yeah.
For George Floyd, because I think that even muddies his name as well. If what's happened to him gets thrown in with the actions of these rioters, That makes sense.
Yeah, that's good. That's a fair point. Very accurate, because
if it brings brings some change, like, I don't know if you've heard, but like in the Minnesota handbook for policing, they have leaning on or kneeling on someone's neck is actually a legitimate use of restraining someone.
Right. Okay.
However, I've got it here. They say it's regarded as a non-deadly force option.
How is it if you're crushing someone's windpipe?
Madness. And they actually say officers are trained on how to compress the neck without applying direct pressure to the airway.
Well, clearly they're not trained very well.
Well, they're not trained very well, but then this is something I want to ask you. Can he, the officer, be charged for murder then for making a mistake? I'm playing devil's advocate here because I think what happened was disgusting, with George saying that, like, I've been struggling to breathe and so on. But if it does sound very simplistic, but me as a supermarket assistant, I've been trained on how to put things on a shelf. But if I make a mistake and it drops off, and it crashes in the ground, I don't get sacked for it. And so he's been trained obviously incorrectly. But if he was doing what he was taught to do, like a non-deadly use of force to restrain the guy, but it's gone wrong, there's no motive there to kill him, is what I'm trying to say.
No, I get that.
So how can we charge with murder?
But I think, like, people in all jobs, in all positions, they're supposed to, and they have to use some common sense. And, I think when I get it, he was a criminal and, like, he could have been dangerous to them, blah blah, is the argument that could be made. But you
charge him manslaughter, the officer, I guess.
I think they've charged him for both.
But they have charged him for both. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to work out the grounds to charge him on murder.
Right.
If there was no motive, from what I can tell. Like,
could you not argue that, again, like, the details are lost on me, but he's been involved in situations like this before. So he has shot, he has shot someone in a similar situation,
right?
And he's been involved with a group of police officers that have also been that have also shot another man. So if he's been, again, details are lost on me, and you need to check that up for yourselves. But let's say, for example, he's been involved in 3 things of this nature. Could you not argue that that is a racially motivated act?
I think it's very hard. Like, again, I'm not arguing in favor of this man.
No, of course.
It sounds like a horrible man.
Yeah.
It's a horrible thing, and I'm not upset to see him being charged with murder. However, what I'm trying to say is I think it's difficult to, even with his past misdemeanors, to then make the case that this was a racially motivated attempt on his life, on George's life. Yeah.
Okay. I get what you mean.
So you can charge him with manslaughter, absolutely, because it's ended up in his death. Like, you did a wrong practice of whatever you've been taught, and it's led to a man's death. So you should be charged with manslaughter. But I'm just...
Hold on, you froze there.
Unless they have motive.
You froze there. Hold on. 1936. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, see, I just like how are they going to be able to find or prove a motive for murder? That's my question. And again, I'm playing devil's advocate.
No, I understand. I guess the point you're trying to make is, if a pilot doesn't land a plane because he's been taught incorrectly or taught badly, that's not necessarily his fault.
Or even if he makes a mistake.
Yeah, if he makes a mistake and he doesn't do something right, and then I get that, but I don't know. I feel like
maybe more details will come out.
More details will be beneficial, but I'm not legally versed, so I don't know how they could go about it, but in like a I'm not sure. I'm not sure for murder. I'm not sure.
But I guess it is. Well, it's a huge story right now, especially with the riots. And hopefully one that will come to a peaceful conclusion. Yeah. That's all we can hope for at the moment. Yeah. but I guess going on a bit more, maybe, I don't know if it's lighter, but with the virus.
Yes.
So what have you been up to, Si, during the lockdown? Like you specifically?
Me personally.
Days?
Well, I've had an absolute mare trying to edit the last podcast.
Good man. Any mistakes and you think they're an issue with it, send it Si's way, all the grief.
Oh, please do not.
Admittedly, don't, because he's a jolly good man for being able to do it. I have no technical bone in my body,
we'll get you on it eventually.
We'll get you on it. Yeah.
But apart from that, I sort of just do university work and play guitar. That's all I really do. And play games. What about you?
Well, the question is, Si, when are you going to be playing the guitar for the podcast?
When am I? When we hit 10,000 downloads. 10,000
downloads. Okay.
That's the time. I will play the guitar for everyone.
For the masses.
Oh. For the masses. For the 10,000 listeners.
I might just download it 10,000 times.
Oh my god. I'm looking forward to that then.
But that's great. Have you been learning? What level are you at then with the guitar?
I don't. Again, I haven't taken any lessons. Pardon me. Yeah. I've never taken any lessons. So I just sort of try and learn stuff that I like.
Are you the Indian Jimi Hendrix?
No, I can play a bit of Jimi Hendrix.
Oh my goodness! Oh man.
Yeah. I do really like Jimi Hendrix. He is.
Who is your favorite guitarist?
John Mayer. I did say last week.
Well,
wait, no, I didn't.
Artist and guitarist, or you just said he was your favorite artist last week, I believe.
I did, but he is probably my favorite guitarist as well.
Not Santana.
I do like Carlos Santana.
I love him.
He's also, I always see his adverts on YouTube for his masterclass.
Yeah.
On guitar playing, and he's like, it's like, what guitar is that? What amp is that? And he's just like, no, it's just, it comes from here, and he's making all these faces. Great guy.
I'd love to have him on.
Yeah.
His song, Smooth.
Oh, so good.
That's such a tune. I love that song so much.
Good.
I can listen to that every day.
Oh yeah.
So you've been playing your guitar.
I'm playing my guitar, learning that.
So you're not quite Santana level, but you could strum out a tune.
I could strum out a little tune. I'll keep practicing for those 10,000 download special. How about that?
Oh, wonderful.
And if you've got requests, I'll deal with those in the DMs.
Okay.
If you're very nice, I might even send you a personalized cover.
Bloody hell!
Look at that commitment to the cause.
I love it. Again, I might be the one sending you all these requests.
Brilliant, great. I'm being abused here.
Please, can you send me a personalized rendition of "Gotta Go Your Own Way" by Gabriela Montez and Troy Bolton in High School Musical 2?
Is it Montez?
I really hope so. Or I'm gonna have to check that up right now.
Gabriela Montez, are we sure about that?
Oh no, I think if it's wrong, I am crying, because as we all know, she is the gold standard of lady.
Let's
Gabriela.
Let's have a look here, guys.
Gabriela Montez. Thank the Lord. Gabriela Montez.
I'm gonna have to take your word for it, because I can't see it on here.
I could show my phone. Would that suffice?
Yeah, that will suffice.
Okay.
That will suffice. I think it will come across.
Oh no!
No! Come on! You can see the picture, so we're gonna have to. No, we can't see it. We can't see it. We'll take your word for it.
Take my word for it. It says Gabriela Montez, and it's pictures of her, and I'm very happy to see her.
She's great gal. Never met her, but I've heard.
You've heard great things. Yeah.
I've heard great things.
That's what I want "Gotta Go Your Own Way" in High School Musical 2, please, Si.
That is actually a guitar song, isn't it? We're not going to play that now. Let's move on. Let's move on before this goes down a terrible route.
It could really go down terribly in High School Musical 2, but okay, can I?
I mean, I don't know if everyone's going to have the same opinion as
it's
us.
universally agreed as the greatest film of all time. So
I think you're right, mate. You're definitely right. Have you seen Donald Trump throwing a tantrum?
What one?
Oh, good point. So he tweeted about the mail-in ballots being 100% fraudulent and stuff.
Okay.
And Twitter just put a little tag under his tweet saying, "Get a fact check about mail-in ballots." Right. Throwing the most low-key shade I've ever seen.
At the most powerful man in the world.
Amazing. Yeah, at the most powerful man in the world. At the most powerful baby in the world.
Or that they think they have. These social media companies, that they would do something like that.
So anyway, he's taken issue with that and is now he's now signing a what's it called, an order? What's it called? Presidential decree order?
Yeah, an executive order.
An executive order, that's the one. Basically saying that if I don't know quite how it works. I've only seen a couple of videos on it, and it only came out a little while ago.
Right.
I need to do more research on it, and if you want to know more, do some more on yourselves.
Again, don't rely on us.
Don't rely on us,
please.
We are idiots, as we've said before. Basically, they lose some sort of their liability benefits if they do bad things. Or
this is what he said.
This is what he said.
Wow. Well, this is what I was trying to talk about like last week. He's just not presidential in any way.
No.
Like he's getting involved in spats that are just like, I think you'd almost think this was far fetched if it was like a sitcom.
Oh yeah.
And you'd be like, no, a president wouldn't do that. Come on, like, there's no point putting that in the script.
No, yeah.
But it works with him. Oh no, it doesn't work for him. It is what's happening.
It's what's happening. Yeah.
It's crazy. Like the biopic they'll be made of his presidency in years down the line will be unbelievable to those who have not lived through it.
I will be telling my children that
the
president of the United States at one point had Twitter beef with Twitter.
Yeah.
With Twitter. It's again, I don't understand the man. And I don't understand the people who voted for him. Or think he's a stable genius.
I think that is a huge topic, to be honest with you. So like, that kind of harm.
Let's not do that. Let's not go down
that one. Not right now, at least.
Shall we get? Actually, I've been very rude. I've not asked you what you've been up to this week.
Well, similar without the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my thesis to write for my master's, so I'm still plugging away with that, trying to find a motivation to do that.
Good stuff.
Start like playing a few games of FIFA. Starting to actually do some cricket training, which has been great.
Very nice.
It's been a long time, but now that Boris has said that we can get out with small groups of people, obviously still socially distancing.
Yeah.
I've been able to get into the nets and start running about and chasing some balls and hitting some balls, and it's funny how, like, a few months ago, I was training with all these people that we were able to, give each other high fives or a hug or whatever it might be. And now it's vastly different. We can't do half the training that we want to because of the social distancing element of it.
Yeah. So what can you do?
Well, with cricket, it's quite easy to keep distance when it comes to the nets. So whether you just keep 2 meters, so the bowler runs in, bowls, you hit the ball, and then whoever's closest to the ball goes and gives it and throws it back to the other one. Mm-hmm. Because the whole notion of batting is that you have gloves on.
Yeah.
So touching the ball doesn't really affect it. You can just throw it back.
What about if someone catches it, they have to sanitize the ball and then throw it back?
No, I think there was a report by one of the government's advisors that actually it's really difficult to catch it off a cricket ball. I don't know I read this up, and we're very unlikely to catch the virus off.
I reckon he's just dying to get back in the nets.
I reckon, and for that man, I say well done. Good man.
But I do think it is quite hard to catch it off non-biological materials, isn't it?
Or is
something along those lines?
I was going to say, it's technically it's leather, isn't it? So it's cow skin. Technically, it's biological, no?
Yeah, but it's dried. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not functioning.
But anyway,
so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Lick your face or you scratch your eyes.
No, of course. Yeah.
All of us have antibacterial like hand wash as well.
Yeah.
So we take it intermittently throughout the training sessions. But no, it's been very good. We've been committed to like the 2 meters distance.
It's good.
But just doing something outside, seeing some people, it's amazing actually how much good that does to your psyche.
Yeah, absolutely.
I knew I missed it, but I didn't realize quite to the extent until starting to get it back again.
Yeah.
Because there's no notion that we're going to be playing any matches anytime soon.
No.
But just the fact, it's been lovely weather here, like surprisingly good weather. Like the whole period, hasn't it?
It's been a
lockdown.
Yeah.
It's just been a cruel joke from the man up on high. It's been great weather all the time. It's probably been just a week where it's been raining.
I think it was only a couple of days where it's rained. I don't think it's even been a week.
I'm saying, well, in normal circumstances, when it's normally been raining in springtime here, people would not have been so inclined to go outside.
No.
A gorgeous weather has meant people have been streaming outside onto the beaches and so on, which has probably exacerbated the issue with the virus. So,
do you think there is a second wave coming? Again, we're not virologists, but
yes.
Out of opinion,
I know a lot of people are saying yes,
mm-hmm.
and maybe I'm just an optimist and it could bite me on the bum, but I don't think so.
Okay.
Because I think, yes, if we'd gone back to normalcy like now or in the next month, but I don't think we're going to get back to proper normalcy until we get a vaccine. I think there's always going to be some element of social distancing, even if it's just to when you're walking about. Like I could see in the future getting to a situation where you can maybe have a designated group of 10 or 5 or 8 people, small group of people, who you're allowed to go to stay at their houses. This is a few months down the line. Like say me and you, we're allowed to like give each other a hug as long as we're within those 8 people, so you couldn't transfer it too far. I could see that happening until we get a proper vaccine. So, and I think unless we do go into everyone free for all, standing right next to each other in queues, football stadiums full of people, I can't really see a second wave coming because if you think the first wave came through, everyone being on planes, everyone being like saying in big crowds on the tube, no one's social distancing, and then we closed down, and 3 weeks later we hit that huge spike. But surely we're not going to hit that again. Could be completely wrong, but I don't think we're going to hit that same level of deaths and so on, or even viruses, cases of it, unless we all went to the same conditions as we were at that point, which was a free-for-all and no social distancing. But I don't think we're going to be at a stage of no social distancing to allow us to get that second spike. That's just my opinion.
I mean, I again, part of me wishes you're right, but I am skeptical.
Okay, you're in that camp.
I'm just a bit skeptical. I'm just not even skeptical. I think I'm just more worried than anything. Because I'd rather us deal with all the lockdown stuff now, and then we can all carry on doing things we used to do before as normal.
But I guess how long is the piece of string like this? I think
true. That's very true. Yeah.
I think until you get a vaccine, it's never going to be as it was before.
No, it's madness because we might be hoping for a vaccine that might never come. 30 years they've been looking for a vaccine for HIV. I know it's not exactly the same thing, but
again, like you say, we know nothing.
Yeah.
But scientists, there's been some good words out there, hasn't there? About
so I think Oxford University is recruiting volunteers for their next phase of research.
And can I quickly just say how mad that is? I saw to be a volunteer to take the vaccine, it's like £4,000.
Really?
Okay, maybe it's just me, but that is an obscenely small number to be put coronavirus inside you.
Yeah, I think so.
And then test, and not only that is you're not just putting coronavirus in you, which you could just battle off normally, but they're putting in a potential vaccine, which they don't. The whole reason why it's a test is because they don't know what the side effects could be from it or the long-term effects. So you're putting coronavirus in you, and you're putting in a vaccine which is literally being tested for £4,000. How desperate are you for money to agree to that?
I don't know. I mean, unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world where people have enough money to not need £4,000. I'm sure there's a lot of people that need it.
Yeah, but again, I'm just saying, like, we need people to test.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm saying pay them respectively enough money to warrant that risk they're putting themselves under.
No, I know, but I think again, and you'd think that they'd get enough funding, because I'm assuming that the only limiting factor for not paying them more is funding.
What do you think? Like, I didn't the government throw loads of money at, especially the Oxford one.
I thought it was quite a large sum.
Yeah,
but again, once you get past all the researchers paying them, etc., it's difficult. I'm just looking at this article, and it was an example. The example is that the fastest vaccine that was ever been developed was for mumps, and that took 4 years. That took 4 years. So
4 years.
Yeah. And again, being in lockdown for 4 years, it's just not reasonable economically.
It's not going to happen. Yeah, it's not going to happen economically. You're going to get an issue where the economic issues that come from being locked down for so long will actually cause more deaths than the virus would.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I can see us coming out of lockdown, but still having forms of social distancing.
Yeah.
So in shops or even in restaurants. Restaurants will open again, but people have to wear the face mask if they're being served or whatever, and the amount of distance between you and other people eating will have to be a greater distance. You won't have those restaurants which are crammed full of people.
No, you're not going to have Wagamama's where you're sitting on a bench next to someone. Exactly. I've always thought that was weird. I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me.
No, I think. Have you ever gone into I've never been to Wagamama's where there's not been a free table. I've always made sure that when I walk past, I've got a free table. I'll sit there.
I've never had. I've always been in one where it's packed.
See, I'm very difficult, or very troubled when it comes to social interaction with people. I do not want to interact with people that are alien to me. So I was moving on to a different. Exactly. I'm going out because I want to eat food, obviously, that I don't have to prepare and so on experience. I don't want to have to be sitting at a table with someone else. Surely the least amount of money I can get my own separate table.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. Again, there was a choice that they made to put benches in instead of chairs and tables.
Is it Japanesey?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Or if you've seen British garden pub or pub garden, and you know what, those bench tables do wonders out there.
I don't have no idea. I do actually have a story about Wagamama's and the shared bench arrangement. So I was at Wagamama's when I first got into uni, and I was with a friend, and she ordered something like she always ordered, and I was like, you know what, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to be a maverick. I'm going to change the way I live my life by changing what I order at Wagamama's.
Stupid move, I can already tell.
I know. And I ordered this thing. It was called the firecracker. Right? And I was like, it'll be easy. It'll be easy.
Yeah, there we go. I wonder what happened there with the firecracker.
Well, this is the thing. People that know me know that I'm very good at spice, right? Normally.
Spicy chap, yeah.
And this monstrosity, right? It was so hot that I could smell the spice. It was placed in front of me, and I'm like, I didn't even have to take a breath in for it to just hit me in the face.
Did you finish it?
Well, this is the thing. So I tucked him, and my friend was a female at the time.
At the time, have they changed sex?
No, but I'm just saying, they weren't. I was about to say, at the time I was single.
Okay.
So
how does this relate to you?
It does. So I was like, right, well, I've got to eat it. I can't not eat it. Exactly. Anyway,
Yes.
I carry on. I am dying halfway through. I don't think I even made it halfway through. And my friend like notices and like she's like paying me no attention because I think it's just awkward for her to bring it up. The woman next to me looks over to me as there's like snot drooling out of my nose and is like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
How close was this woman? Was she like sitting on your lap?
Well, she may as well have been. That's how those benches work.
Was she close enough to smell the heat?
I mean, I'm assuming that's why she asked, because like it wasn't really, she wasn't really concerned for me. It was offending her, so she just wanted it to stop.
There's no dignity when you go to Wagamama's and you get spicy food. Like, not only does your date at the time is not.
She wasn't a date, but yeah.
All right, well, the female company not impressed, but even the woman who sat on your lap next to you, she was also aware of your predicament. But if you went to a normal restaurant with separate tables, you would get rid of that.
I'd be fine.
Yeah.
Be fine.
So there we are, Wagamama's. Please change. Please have individual tables.
Please. Not that they're watching this. Or they give a crap about.
We tried to appeal to Tom Cruise last week, so we're going for Wagamama's.
Why are we going after these massive names? Is there a reason for that?
We're looking up.
We're looking up.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Very nice. Okay.
That was an epic tangent.
That was a tangent, and I don't even know where we were to get to that tangent, to be honest with you.
Social distancing, actually.
Social distancing. Yeah, that was where they are. But yeah, because we were talking about my cricket, weren't we?
Yes. Sorry, there we go.
No, that's basically been it. To be honest with you, it's been the cricket, some uni work, and working at the supermarket.
Good stuff. Being a key worker.
I think possibly the keyest of workers.
An asset to the nation.
The biggest of us. Yes, biggest. Shall we go on to our main part of the...
Let's get on to our main topic, yes.
So we're going to discuss today is it worth going to university? So, Si, is it worth going to university at the moment?
In a nutshell, it depends.
Wow, what an answer where you sound the fence.
I should be a politician.
Come to see is I'll stress this off is let's discuss and tell people if they should go to university, and you've just gone, well, it depends.
Okay. Brilliant. I have a quick flow chart that I can run you through. Okay.
Flow me.
So the first box is did you like school? Like, was there a subject that you got on with? Right? If the answer to that is no, then the answer to you liking university is probably going to be no. And I think you should try and pursue something like an apprenticeship, or try and find a job, or even start a business.
Okay.
I would highly recommend you look into those, and there's lots of government schemes that do those.
Yeah.
I only talk about those things because I've had friends do each of those options, and they're doing really well for themselves.
I completely agree. It's something that I've always said to people who are younger than me and talked about going to university and asked me for my opinion. I've just said, like, unless you are really motivated about that subject that you're going to take, do not go.
Yeah.
Because the amount of self-motivation you need to complete the course and do well is so much higher than you would imagine going into it, I feel, at least.
Absolutely. I agree completely.
I think that people think it's just an extension from school.
Yeah.
But what people don't realise is lecturers do not give a damn. They do. Don't get me wrong. I love my professors. But I mean, if you fail, they're not going to like harass you and get you homework and make sure you do it. No, it's your decision. You're the one paying that money.
Exactly.
And so it's only up to you to make sure you get the best grade possible for the money you are spending.
Yeah.
I think especially in this country, like in other countries where I know in France it's something silly, like you have to just pay £250 for a course.
Yeah.
Like in that sense, you can just kind of do it on a whim. Like, maybe I'll like this, so let's just give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But over here, when you're spending like £9,000 a year, you need to know what you want to do so you can do it to your best.
Because even if it's just that 1 year and you figure out it's not for you, it's such a waste. Because when I worked out, when I was in second year and I was really lacking some motivation, I sat down and worked out how much an hour's lecture was overall. And it works out to something ridiculous like £70.
Actually, no, you're totally right, because I remember I used to have a driving lesson.
Yeah.
And it always overlapped with one of my lectures. Mm-hmm. So the driving lesson, oh God, was it like £12, £15? Actually, how much are you driving? Are they like £20?
About £20, yeah. But here they are. In Kent, they are, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was about £20. And then I was working out how much I was spending or losing on not going to the lecture.
Okay.
And I worked out that for that 1 hour,
it
was about £100 in total.
Yeah.
And I thought that was mental. But unfortunately, they recorded the lectures so you can see afterwards.
Yeah, but it's not the same though. I don't think it's ever the same. And this is coming from someone who'd struggled to go in recently. Like sitting in a class with your peers and your lecturer right there, and being able to put your hand up at any time.
Oh well, have you ever put your hand up?
No, I'm not saying that's actually happened. But what I have done is gone to a lecturer afterwards at the end of the lecture.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
You can't do that online. You can email them still.
For me, I love and hated lectures.
Okay.
I loved them because I felt like I was in the movies.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Like the American style movies, in with the backpack, all in that big hall. And I did engage in them. I learned. I never put my hand up. I never had the confidence to.
Okay.
But like you say, you're sat with your peers, you're taking it in, you feel like you're actually getting value for your money.
Absolutely, yeah.
However, just me personally, I would sometimes stress out when lecturers were starting to ask questions.
Okay,
they were going to ask me. And
fair enough.
All my head would turn off and it would just be panicking. Oh God, please don't ask me, please don't ask me.
Yeah.
So when you're behind the screen watching it and you're able to pause it, that's been the other thing. To be able to pause a lecture and take down notes, because I have this weird thing. Most normal people tap, 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 just type away and make their notes that way.
Yeah, yeah.
But for it to get into my brain, I have to handwrite the notes.
Okay.
And so there was some lectures, oh my goodness, I was writing, and I could never keep up with the lecturer and the PowerPoint slides. Never.
Right, okay, yeah.
So having the opportunity to go back and watch the recording and write out my notes that way, or even listen to it and pause it, right, and then listen to it and then go over it again.
Yeah,
helped me enormously. So I think there's a place for recordings, and I think they're going to be the norm until we get a vaccine, aren't they? I've heard that nearly all universities, there's going to be no lectures anymore.
So I heard that Cambridge has officially announced that next year's class will all be online.
But what about, I think, all lectures, but isn't like a small seminar groups are still going to be held?
I think seminars are still being held.
But they're like groups of 5
and groups of 5 or something. But to be honest, that's not too far off what I had anyway. I think I had 8 people in some seminars.
What, for the whole year, though? Really?
No. In some modules, I had 8. To be fair, actually, thinking about it, there were classes where there were like 20 or 30 people.
Yeah, because for me, it would probably be anywhere between 15 to 22, something like that. I'd say my seminars were.
Some seminars were really small though. But
getting back to our question.
Yeah, sorry.
If that is the case for next year,
okay,
that there's going to be no online, face-to-face lectures.
Yeah.
That is, as you were saying there, Simon, you're spending like £70 for one of these lectures,
and it's online.
But if you can't get it in the flesh, then surely it doesn't warrant a £70 price tag. You could either, for the same amount of information, just research it yourself, or look up a YouTube video, or even the Open University, which is a fraction of the price, has online lectures.
But this is my issue with what's happened for me this last term. So this last term we've had and the term before actually, we had strikes that we lost a lot of lecture time to, and we also had obviously the corona pandemic. They just cancelled lectures and they're like, everything's online. And the issue with that was some professors were ready to take their lectures online, some weren't. Yeah. So I would say I've lost out. Yeah. And I think it's not worth that same £70 because I'm watching a lecture and it's okay and I'm getting some of the information across, but there's connection issues with like if for example like our podcast cuts out a little bit, I can ask you to repeat yourself. In a Zoom call with 120 other people or on a lecture thing, it's not going to happen.
Have you been in one of those Zoom calls with like 100 odd people?
No, I haven't. No.
No, I haven't.
I've honestly just been put off because I just don't. I don't know. I can watch a recording afterwards, and I do prefer to do that just because if I'm watching it on my computer anyway, what point is it that it's live?
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And I guess you could say the same thing about lectures in person. If I'm watching it afterwards anyway, what point is there being in person and asking questions, sort of thing? But I think it's different because I think a lot of people do better sort of when they're they're dressed, they're fully dressed, and they're going somewhere to class.
No, I agree, and I think that something that makes university experience what it is that contact with people your peers, your age.
Absolutely.
I think that's half the money you're spending for it, just to be able to connect with all these people.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to get the opportunity to do that, then maybe not indefinitely, maybe even look to, I was about to say take a gap year, but you can't really travel or do anything like that, but look into other ways you could enhance your CV or whatever before maybe going to university when this isn't such an issue.
There are some 1-year apprenticeships available. I don't know if they're available for people leaving with A levels, but I'm pretty sure that I've applied to one, or I tried to apply for something that was A level related. So I'm sure that they're out there, and if not, then a year's experience, maybe being paid your like a minimum wage to sort of get some experience is really beneficial.
No, I agree.
If you find that I know some people, their brothers and their younger brothers are going to university next year and they're just considering not going.
If it was me, because I was always someone who wanted to go to university and potentially not go down the apprenticeship routes.
Yeah.
I think I would just look to hold off for a year, because I think in general you can make a case either which way. What is university worth it? But I think for next year, if we're still under these lockdown conditions, social distancing measures, I don't think it's worth it. Not for 9,000.
No.
Because how many societies will be able to operate with social distancing?
Probably zero. Hardly any.
You're gonna lose that as well.
Yeah.
And I think these poor people now who've paid, or who are still paying for their halls of residency for this term, even though they've been told not to come back to it. Told to stay at their family homes, but please still pay us for the rent that you aren't living in.
And I get some part of that, because you signed a contract to sort of pay it regardless. And if you left uni, if you stopped going to uni because you found it wasn't for you after one term,
that's different than a pandemic.
Exactly. Nobody was
told by them. Like in a similar way which I think is great, the furlough system. Like similar to that, like the government has told these people you cannot go to work. We are closing these businesses up because they're non-essential, but you still need your money, so we're going to give you some money. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the same way, because it's such a trying to think of the right word here, but like it's unprecedented.
Yeah.
And I think that how has that not been put to the students? Because surely they're one of the demographic which needs the money the most.
Yeah. Again, for example, I've moved back in with my parents.
Yeah.
I'm still paying close to £400 for a house that I don't stay in, and haven't stayed in since March.
I know.
But again, for example, some landlords are private landlords.
Yeah, but then haven't they had the government's eased them with like mortgages and so on, so they don't have to pay
mortgage payments, or
so they're actually they're getting
it two ways.
This is better for them. This is better. They're not having to pay the mortgage for interest or whatever, but they're still getting the rent.
But for example, my brother up in Lancaster, he goes to Lancaster Uni, and his uni have said that they're going to pay, or that they've cut rents in half. That's something.
But that's not universal, is it?
No, but some landlords up there have followed suit. They've cut rent in half, or like more than half. But yeah, if it were universal, that would be ideal. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
Well, okay. So from my point of view, if you're looking to go to university next year, is it really what you want? Because university isn't going to go anywhere.
No.
But potentially, let me rephrase. If you're just doing it for purely academic reasons, you want to, even if it is online, still have a communication with a lecturer and so on, and you have a specific goal in mind, and you're not really cared about the experience of university, then go for it.
I think in that case, you are probably better off.
Probably better off.
For some people who might be in that state of mind, I think you're better off. So, for example, if someone was like you can pause lectures all the time, you can spend all your life doing that.
Yeah, but I think the majority of people go to university not only for the academic experience, but also the life experience.
I think so, yeah.
So I think if, depending on what the situation is next year, potentially hold off. And although we're saying this, don't just take our recommendation for it.
Obviously, yeah. Obviously. Again, we are idiots.
Not to go to university, so
please don't tell your parents that
please tell them it was Sky.
No. Tell them it was Cameron.
No, tell them it was Mr. Theta.
And you know what? If you do tell them it was one of us, at least get them to subscribe.
Absolutely.
Think about that.
If you're going to get that back,
get them to subscribe, get them to download the podcast, share it a little bit.
Maybe ask us questions. Ask us in the DMs, why have you told our child not to read the
please. Make them an Instagram account and then tell them DM us.
I'll be happy to have people's parents DM us.
That doesn't sound weird at all.
No.
That sounds really weird.
But it still remains that anyone's welcome to DM.
Exactly. But just on that point, I think I'd just like to add, I personally don't think it's worthwhile. Even
for next year or
for next year.
Okay.
For next year specifically.
If everything is fine next year, there's a vaccine, blah blah blah. We can all go back. Do you think it's worth £9,000 here in the UK to go to university?
Again, I think that's asking two different questions. Because I
ask what?
Well, again, I think that raises a different question as well.
Okay.
I think university and higher education should be free.
Going back to the glory days, yeah.
Yeah, and not just for the benefit of students, but for the benefit of our economy that has not very many specialist. We have a lack of engineers, we have a lack of doctors, and some of that is because of the paywall of university.
I agree totally with you.
But
however, I fear this will not happen.
I feel this will not happen as well.
Or if it does happen, it will definitely happen once we have left.
We've left. And we've still got 40 grand of debt. And, But again, I'm going to reiterate, if people are worried about the debt, I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a guy, he has a YouTube channel, he doesn't have a YouTube channel. He has a TV show about money. I can't remember his name.
Oh, I think I can see him.
Yeah. He's a millionaire.
Classic.
I don't.
Definitely not one of us then.
No, is it Martin?
Yes, you're getting somewhere. I can see him.
Martin Lewis.
Big brain sigh, yeah.
So he did a video on why you should go to university if it's what you want, and his point was that even if you have £50,000 in debt, the interest rate that is charged is so small compared to normal loans. It's worthwhile. It's a worthwhile investment. And for example, after 30 years, I can't remember the exact terms, but after so many years, it's wiped anyway. And there's lots of different clauses to it, but and you don't start paying back any money until you start earning 21,000.
Yeah, that does.
And so until you start earning £21,000.
That's a weird thing in itself, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I know some people who have looked for graduate jobs which are just underneath that, so they don't have to pay it back.
That's a strange thing to me.
That's a weird way to look at it, surely.
It is.
But then because of that, like the more you go up in, unless you are earning a big wage and then taking a cut out of it doesn't affect you too badly, most startup salaries are probably anywhere between 23 to 30,000, 33 maybe.
I think it's somewhere around there. Yeah.
Then taking out, is it 15, 20%? I don't know, something like that. Even if it's less, that's still a big chunk of that. And I think they worked out that if they earned just underneath 21,000, they would actually end up with more or the same amount of money as someone earning like the top echelon of like 29,000.
Yeah. Okay. So this is an article from Mr. Martin Lewis. It's just got some tips about what about the loan and about the debt, and advice on how it works. So I'm going to put this in the description if anyone's interested. But I think for online lectures, I don't think it's worth it. I don't know what your.
Well, my thing is just like if people don't have the opportunity to experience university to the fullest, then you might as well just go on the Open University, do it all online.
It's a very good point.
And save yourself a lot of money.
It depends on what you want at the end of the day, which is why I said it depends to begin with.
Yeah.
Would you? Okay, here's a different question. Would you change the course of your degree? Would you have a different route? Would you take a different route?
What if I was going into it now?
If you were going into it next September, and it's going to be online, and you were sure that you wanted to go to university, but so what I mean,
my course in particular, because my course is politics, and I think a lot of that did stem around communication with my peers at seminars and so on. That was half of the appeal to it, and that was really, really quite good.
Yeah.
And obviously you would lose some of that. I think that if it was me personally, I would still do the same subject purely because I'm useless at everything else.
Okay.
However, if I was someone who liked a humanitarian subject, also liked a subject like science or mathematics or something, I would probably tend to go towards more scientific math stuff, which could be more easily translated online, not so much discussion based.
Yeah.
That's what I would do, but I wouldn't have had that option if it was me.
No, of course. No, just the reason I ask is, of course, the people considering, sort of scientific stuff where they're going to have more lab time and stuff like that. True. That's all going to be impacted. Obviously, it's going to be impacted in a way we don't know.
And if you ask me directly about my reasoning, half of it was actually to play cricket for my university because I had a scholarship there.
Yeah.
So and that won't be happening. I don't know what's going to happen with scholarships and so on. So if I've been told that you can go to university, but there'll be no sport, no cricket and so on for this year, I think that really could have swayed me to do something else for the year.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But no, it's going to be a tough position for those coming up, those leaving school this year. It's been tough for them anyway, not being able to do their exams. So
it's
been very tricky for them.
I mean, I can only speak from experience, and my exams this year have been just miserable. Of the whole doing it online, it doesn't feel right. I don't know. I feel like it just doesn't feel morally correct. Being able to look at everything and
it's just speaking to my professors about that.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm not taking exams. I'm doing a research masters, but they've been marking lots of people's exams, and it's odd for them obviously because the papers are so much better.
Yeah. You did a really good job this year.
You've done a really good job this year, and obviously for people like me who's already graduated, actually it doesn't matter too much because we've already graduated, but it's a bit annoying seeing as we had to revise
of course
night and day for those, but at the same time it brings other stresses. I don't really envy anybody's position.
No.
But what the professor did say, the one silver lining is that obviously they can read everyone's handwriting now. So some people who've been marked down because of their handwriting are now going to probably get a better grade.
That's good. That's a good point. That's a very good point.
So there we are. So to round it off,
yes.
Would you let's do a two-prong answer.
Mm-hmm.
Would you advise people going to university next year if the virus is still around, as in the lockdown measures and social distancing, and would you suggest for people to go to university if everything's fine in September?
If everything's fine and you've got a subject you're passionate about, or you have a job that really interests you, and you've got some experience like about what that job is like day to day, then I'd really suggest that you
go for it.
You go for it if uni's okay, and if you've got a plan in your head about how, like, where you've got your life sort of planned out, which is fine, it's absolutely okay. Because I know I've got a friend like that. And you want to get into this job by X year, then I think maybe you're going to miss out this year, but it could be back to normal next year, and you might have your first year and your second year. That makes sense socially. So this might be a good thing if that's the case. However, if you're not sure, or you're sort of on the fence, and I don't know, it doesn't seem worthwhile to me if I were in that situation, and I don't know if it makes sense going to university and paying all that money to essentially probably end up staying at home more than anything else. And you're missing out on a lot.
I agree. I think if the key of going to university on any basis is if you're motivated and passionate about the subject that you're choosing to do.
Absolutely.
Because the money is extreme for that.
Yeah.
If you're going there purely just for the experience, I would actually say don't.
Yeah.
Go and get yourself an apprentice job, or get yourself into a job that you are interested in, and just you can go up to university and see your friends or whatever. Don't pay $9,000 just for the experience. Pay $9,000 if you are interested in the result at the end being a good degree in whatever it is that you're interested in. However, if it is like it is now with the social distancing measures and you're still having to pay $9,000+, I would suggest not going in September and waiting a year.
Yeah. Again, we're yet to see what. Yeah. We're still yet to see what universities are going to do in terms of that.
And what if my professors, they don't know.
Yeah.
It's not. So everything's up in the air at the moment. So
we shall see. We shall see.
So we've been somewhat non-committal, but we've given some advice.
Yeah, and if you guys want to ask questions, we can answer them.
Yeah. As best that we can.
As best to the best of our knowledge.
So shall we move on to the couple of questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you again for those who have sent them in, and please do keep sending them in, people. We really like receiving them. It means a great deal to us. And I've got one from Sam down here, and he's asked if we could watch any movie for the rest of our lives on, like, not on a loop continuously, but just one movie.
Okay, you can only watch this one.
Only watch this one, so I fancy a movie. Well, you can only watch that one. And I assume he's probably asked this because we were talking about Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible last week.
Definitely Mission Impossible. If Tom Cruise comes on the podcast, it's Mission Impossible. If he's not coming on the podcast, then
it's definitely not Mission Impossible.
It's not Mission Impossible.
But if he is, it's Mission Impossible.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have an answer for this? Have you got a film that you would definitely watch over and over again?
See, I love, as it came out earlier, I love High School Musical 2. Great as well. However, on a loop, potentially not.
Maybe not.
I'm a big fan of the old, epic movie.
Okay.
Like battles and period drama type thing. So, and I know lots of people love Gladiator and so forth, and I love like Lord of the Rings and things, but I think for me, if I was to watch one movie on repeat, it'd be Troy. I love
Troy. Is an epic film.
It is. Don't even get me started, but I think I could be Eric Banner. Just the first name Eric from now on, please.
Okay. All right, Eric.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
That is a good choice. That's a good choice. I didn't expect that from you. I don't know. No? I just expected you to say High School Musical seriously, and that'll be at the end. Move on.
I'm not discounting it. It's in my top 3.
I get that. But Troy, okay.
Yeah, no, Troy is. I love Troy. I love those kind of films. And why is it may have been something different if it wasn't the fact that Sam has asked us for what we'd watch on like the only one ever.
The only
Troy
one
has a lot of different bits to it. It has like a romantical side. It's got like the epic battle side. It's got storylines, and so that's probably why, because there's more to it to not get bored with.
Fair enough.
What about you, Sam?
This is the thing. I just don't know with films. I get so bored with films.
Are you more of a series man?
No, I don't even like. I really can't watch a series. What do I watch? I watch YouTube.
Okay.
Unfortunately, like I watch YouTube and I listen to podcasts.
Well, that's handy for this, but I guess not what Sam wants to know. What?
My favorite. If I had to have a film that like I could only watch this film ever, it would be. This is hard because there's lots of films that I like, you know.
Okay, well, I'm waiting. What's the kind of genre you like?
I do quite like an action pick, you know.
Okay.
And I don't mind a superhero picture movie.
Superhero movie. What about an Avengers?
I do like, you know, but you know what? And people might hate me for this, but I thought like the last one was very overrated.
There's going to be so many spoilers now if I say this. I'm still yet to see the last two, and I'm going to watch them soon.
Okay.
I've been watching them all in chronological order, so please don't spoil it for me.
Okay.
I know people in the comments, if there are any, will be now spoiling it for me.
Just going to be like, did you know that I was actually, no, let's not actually say it just because someone else won't have seen it. And it's just not
worth it. Don't spoil it for everyone else, not just me.
Yeah, true. I really like Thor Ragnarok. It's probably one of my favorite Marvel films.
Why is that? Why is that one of your favorite ones?
Just because it's you know, it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also serious bits. I like the humor in it. You know the Rock guy, Korg. Yeah. Hi, my name's Korg.
Yes, yeah.
Love that. So good. And Jeff Goldblum in it is excellent.
Yeah, exactly. It has Jeff. So what is it not to love? So could that be a contender for your one movie?
You know what? I'm going to put it up there.
Ah, fair play. That's a big statement. There we are, Sam. There's our two movies.
There you go.
Please discuss in the comments what would be your one movie and whose is better out of Thor and Troy.
It's probably still Troy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's okay. That's okay. My question is from Becca.
Okay.
What one place would you travel to again? Again. I don't think that means like you can only go here again, but I think it just means.
Yeah. Well.
And why, obviously.
So, it would be a recurring theme, but like a place I love more than is Greece. But I'm not going to say Greece because I go there repeatedly anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of one place I've been, which I'd like to go again. Just throwing it out there.
Pushing the boat out. Yeah.
Where I'd like to go again is actually Oman, next to UAE.
Oh yeah.
In the Middle East. I was visiting my dad in Dubai because he worked out there, and he took us on a day trip, a couple of days into Oman, and little people know about the wonders of Oman, but the scenery is unbelievable. The mountains are incredible. It's something out of Lord of the Rings. It looked like Mordor at points. It was incredible because you go through all the sand dunes and Bedouin. It was an amazing trip. But I did it when I was 9 or 10, so we're talking 13 odd years ago. So I've got these memories of it, but I'd love to go and see it again. It also has an amazing coastline.
Oh yeah.
But just because I can remember it, just like it's kind of one of those rose-tinted memories that I have.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I'd like to go back there and see a bit more and spend maybe a bit more time traveling around there.
Absolutely.
Especially that route. There was because obviously people talk about like routes, whatever in America.
Yeah.
But I think they had their own version of that in the Middle East, but along that stretch, which is this one tarmac road. You didn't see anyone. It was one of those Top Gear moments where like it was just one straight road. You just drove for hours and hours.
Yeah.
Didn't see anyone, but through these mountains, through the desert, it was incredible. So yeah, that would be my one. What about you?
Sorry, just to tag on to that. When I went to Oman, I think.
Oh, you've been to Oman? Well, no, I don't feel so special.
No. Okay, so I should clarify. Like when people ask, "Oh, where have you been?" Like I'll mention it, but I always preface it by saying like, "Oh, but it was only for like the day."
Okay.
Because my parents used to do this thing of where if we'd fly somewhere, we'd stop somewhere for a day and we'd get like a connecting flight.
So you flew to Oman?
Yeah. Going to India.
To Dubai.
Well, because we'd been to Dubai like previously.
Okay.
And I think this was on the way back.
Right.
And I just remember thinking everything was really expensive, and that's my only memory of it. And I can't remember it.
What, in Oman?
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
And I have no negative memory, but no positive. But we stayed in
the capital.
Yeah, the capital. What's the capital?
Yeah, I actually never went to the capital. I went to more, like I said, the rural area, which is stunning. So maybe I have a different
look on it. Yeah,
different opinion on it.
I'd like to change my mind on it if possible at all one day.
Well, maybe that will be a trip we make.
Maybe. But my country. It's funny because you said America, but I think my country would be America.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think it would.
Where would you like to go? Specifically in America.
But the thing is, I've only ever been on the coasts. I've only either gone to New York or sort of Florida or like that sort of that coast.
Have you been to the West Coast?
And I've been to San Francisco and LA and stuff, but nothing
cool.
ever more than that. You know, I've never been to the Grand Canyon or the Rockies and stuff like that. I'd like to, because I think there's a lot more. There's a large variety in America, and I haven't experienced much of that. So I think I'd like to go to America again.
And what more, the Central America?
But more places that aren't necessarily people's first destinations, if that makes sense.
So what, maybe a road trip type thing through the centre, or?
Yeah, road trip type thing. You know, something like we had planned.
Something like we had planned. Who knows in the future that it could hopefully become possible.
Where did we plan it from to?
From what I can recall, it was fly to New York.
Yeah.
And then go to LA. And so kind of go like that.
Was that our plan?
I'm pretty sure.
Were we gonna rent a car?
We were when we were like 16 or 15. That was our plan.
Amazing plan.
Amazing plan. I believe the first thing that when we looked online and actually were drafting it up was how much the insurance would be for 16-year-olds.
Oh yeah. But I forgot about that because I remember thinking this is perfect because as 16 you can drive in America, but I did forget to think. Wait a minute, you do still need a license.
And at the time, I didn't drive.
This is true.
Now
I could drive, but I didn't have a license. There's not much help either.
So technically, you couldn't drive.
Yeah. Well, I could drive a car.
In theory, you could drive.
No, not in practice.
Okay, in practice, you could drive a car.
Yeah.
But by law.
Yes, there we go.
No, that's the right.
That was the only wall in my way.
A small wall at that size.
I mean, all it needed was a license, and then some insurance would have been there.
And the car.
Oh, the car too.
And maybe some plane tickets to get there.
I remember thinking the plane tickets there were really, really cheap.
Really? I
remember, because I don't know why, but it's enshrined in my memory that they were £300.
No. Really?
No. Honestly, yeah. Because my uncle, he's flown multiple times for £300 across the Atlantic.
Well, hopefully it'll be the same now, but I have a bad feeling that price might go up.
Should we have a quick impromptu search on it?
Very impromptu, yeah.
Flights.
While everyone waits in anticipation, how much?
Well, I'm just going to show
these cost. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I am using Bing, so forgive me for that. Travel may be impacted. Brilliant. This is New York. How do you? Okay, I am bad with Bing. Oh, here we go. Find flights. we couldn't find any flights that match your criteria.
Or yeah, because all flights are banned at the moment.
Okay, well.
So is that just killed that?
Cheap flights to New York from £243. Search. Look at that. It said from £300, £350, and they're not too far off. So I don't think I was wildly wrong.
No, fair enough.
Austrian Air. I was about to say that's your airline, but it's not. That's the wrong. I meant Australia, but.
Oh, I can see, but. Well, okay, so maybe it's not beyond the wild realms of expectation, but we could get there.
Yeah. But then what do we do when we get there?
Yeah, we need a bit of help from what's there. Who knows? That's a dream. You've heard it here first, folks. If that our plan is to go over there and do some kind of challenges of a road trip across America, and if anybody could help us out with that, we'd be most grateful.
We'll I don't know what we do.
I will personalise a guitar solo for you.
Ah, there you go.
How can you refuse that?
I'll write you a song, and if you're a company, I'll write you a song for your advert.
Oh my god!
What more could you want?
What are people waiting for? We're going to be inundated with offers now.
Oh no, I probably shouldn't have said that, should I?
No, you're going to have too many.
It's okay. It's okay.
You know, like the scene in the first Harry Potter, where like the mail's coming through and they keep throwing it away, and then it gets to the point where like all the owls are putting like loads and loads of mail down like the chimney and everything. It's just streaming around the house. That's going to be you with all these.
With all these requests.
With all these requests.
Am I going to have to move to an island with rain and no internet?
Yes.
Brilliant.
That's exactly how.
The podcast will die, but the challenge videos will live on.
Well, we'll find a way.
We'll find a way.
We'll
just sit here. We'll record each other sending a pigeon with our response.
With our response.
We'll read it out.
Even longer than our normal videos to get out. But But anyway, I think on that note of you living on an island with pigeons and writing Brand's songs, I think that's time to end this one. I think it's been a pleasure, Cameron. As always, Simon. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for listening. If you've made it to the end, thank you very much. Well done. We appreciate it, and please do send in your questions or comments or whatever, and we'll do our best to get back to you. It doesn't have to be questions. I'm just saying you can send in some compliments if you like every now and then. Compliments. We wouldn't say no to a compliment or two. We're in short supply over here. Very short. But thank you again for listening. Thank you very much, and speak to you next week. Have a good day. You too, and everyone. Bye.